Nine people have died outside in Anchorage this year. Last year, the number was 24 total, and there still isn't enough shelter for everyone who needs it. Despite that, taxpayers have been paying $5,000 per month to store materials for an unbuilt shelter. Documents show for possibly more than a year.
I'm not going to give up on something that works, that's already paid for.
Anchorage Mayor Dave Bronson says he's been working on building a permanent homeless shelter since he took office.
I adopted a plan based on a study, and that study says we need to build a shelter of 1,000. Here we are. We're at 1,000. 2.5 years later, and people are still getting cold on the street.
The Anchorage Assembly voted against building the mayor's navigation center late last year. The Assembly chair at the time said there was a lack of confidence in the administration about its handling of costs. The Assembly also cited lack of funding and said the project had certain parts of it that had started without being approved.
And we did our mea culpas right away. We testified in public in front of the Assembly. This is what we did wrong. Sorry, we did wrong. Ironically, that mistake has been made quite a few times before I even came into office.
The Assembly voted the project down again this past August, citing funding issues.
Costs continue to escalate. They continue to go up and up and up. We started with $8 million, $9 million, went up to like $25 million, and who knows where it was going to go from there.
Bronson says $161 million has been spent in the last few years alone to solve homelessness in Anchorage. If the Navigation Center had been built, he says, the city wouldn't be in the situation it is in now. But Assembly members disagree.
I would say that that's entirely inaccurate. That makes absolutely no sense. We spent tens of millions of dollars on rental assistance and mortgage assistance so people could stay in their homes and in their apartments. So regardless of whether this tent went up or not, we would have had to spend a majority, if not all of that money.
Rivera says many in the homeless community say they'd rather have multiple smaller shelters as opposed to one massive one.
That's a pipe dream, absolutely. There's no way that 1,000 people experiencing homelessness would go into this mass shelter. If there's anything that we've learned over the last 3 years, it's that the population experiencing homelessness is not interested in huge mass shelters anymore.
Shelter or not, there's an approaching cold snap in the city, with temperatures expected as low as 0 by Friday. And taxpayers are paying $5,000 per month to store materials for the unbuilt navigation center. I asked Mayor Bronson when we'd stop paying for the building materials. He says he's not giving up on the possibility of the shelter and navigation center being built.
It's not off the table. There's a right solution. The environment hasn't changed to make it not the right solution.
Rivera says it's not going to happen.
It already happened at the Sullivan Arena, right? The Sullivan Arena was a traumatic experience for many people.
And Felix Rivera says there will be an emergency warming center established by December 1st, and the earliest, and is urging the administration to declare a civil emergency to get one established sooner than that. With lack of shelter space in the city right now, the mayor's communications director says she's going to follow up on this tomorrow.